Hey, wait a minute. You're not Connor Murphy.
Be quiet.
Hey, what's up, guys? Hit play. The hit players out there. Thanks for joining back in. This week we are doing a review of another movie review. It's a shocker.
We're back to our regularly scheduled program.
Yeah, we really like watching movies and reviewing them. This week we are doing A24's new movie. Almost, it feels like a phenomenon to some degree, doesn't it? Isn't it like almost everywhere?
Is
feel
this
like
the phenomenon movie of 2022?
Is this the Parasite of 2022? Everything, everywhere, all at once. Obviously, you guys can tell. You guys can read the titles. If you can't, thanks for tuning in. We're reviewing everything, everywhere, all at once. Opening remarks. Spoiler free, by the way, for the first couple seconds.
First, I enjoyed it. I would say, and I had heard a lot of good things online.
Yes.
But none of it really was enough to capture my attention. But enough people were talking about it. I felt pressured. Now that I have a responsibility to give an opinion on these things, I feel like I should have gone and seen it. And now that I did, I was very pleasantly impressed with it.
Yeah, it was in the day and age of franchises and watching the same movie over and over and over again, this was a movie that dared to be different. There are some moments where I was like, okay, that was weird. But there was a lot more moments of, oh, I like that. That was cool. Whether it was like the editing style, the cinematography, the lighting was phenomenal in this. I mean, this is an A24 movie where it's just like, let's just see what we can get away with in terms of just breaking all the rules and inventing our own rules. And I think for that aspect alone, I appreciate this movie a whole lot more than I probably would have maybe like 5 years ago. So I also enjoyed it. I also left the theater. We went with our friends and we were all like, what was that? This is definitely an experience, not just like a sit back and chill for 2:15 or something like that. Which is nice to experience again.
Yeah, definitely. I got the most enjoyment out of the fact that the whole idea of her connecting to the multiverse was used not just to tell the plot, but was actually used largely metaphorically for her relationship to her family.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that they got as much mileage out of that concept as they possibly could have.
Yeah.
It feels like they went to every corner of the universe, no pun intended.
Yeah, literally.
So this is definitely I would say it's a fun movie.
Yeah.
I would say, because it's not just a comedy, but it is actually like, in terms of filmmaking, editing in particular, and just the storytelling itself, it is very fun.
It's also it's wacky.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, yeah, it's funny. It is very funny. But it's also just like, what am I watching? There were many times where I leaned into Connor, our friend Connor. Shout out Connor.
He was here he was here earlier this week anyway.
I was just like, what the F are we watching right now, Connor? And he was like, I don't know, dude.
That seemed to be the general of everybody in the theater. There were scenes where they were just like...
It is a roller coaster from the get-go.
Laughing more so out of nervousness than out of actual funny.
Did anybody, like, tell you anything personally? And I mean, I know you read things online and stuff, but as far as, did somebody be like, yo, this is what it's like, just prepare yourself?
A lot of the comments I had seen were emotionally. It was really funny where I had seen comments. One that stuck out was somebody who was like, this movie broke me down and then built me back up. And then the movie ends and Connor stands up and he was like, that movie hit me like a truck. And I was like, it really does have that effect on people.
Yeah, it really does.
It's a lot more of a emotional powerhouse of a movie.
It creeps up on
people are giving
for
it
sure.
credit for.
Yeah, for sure. It for me, it like slowly built up where I was like, okay, cringy daughter, overbearing mother. How many times have we seen this in a movie before? But then that ending, it ends and you're like, wow, that was, it's not original, but the execution of it and the like technicality and the theatrical element of like blending the editing, the lighting, the music, just all together to bring that home. That message was just like, damn, this is a really good. This is filmmaking. This is really, really good.
That's what I'm saying is most impressed me the most was the fact that the multiverse element wasn't just a gimmick or plot point. It was actual. That was it. That is the storytelling device.
Yeah.
That is how they explore her relationship to her daughter. Which is weird to say that it's actually like a family drama.
Yeah,
is what this movie is. The music also was very, very good.
Yeah,
I made a joke after the movie about how the Batman had Ave Maria and this one has Claire de Lune, and so I'm wondering like what classical piece is going to become, what classical song is going to blow up next. Music was really good, acting was very good. This movie is in both Chinese and American.
Yeah, which I really, really enjoy.
Chinese.
I enjoy.
I feel like I heard
bilingual
a lot of
movie.
Cantonese as well, but there's both subtitles and English dialogue as well.
And they do a cool thing, which I've noticed because I grew up in a multilingual immigrant family. Is like the older generation will question you in their language, and then they'll like semi throw in some English in there, and then they'll go back to like, for me it was like my mom would speak to me in Spanish, break it into English, then go back to Spanish, and I would just answer her in plain English.
Yeah.
And I even noticed that with like my cousins and their parents, is like they'll speak to them in fluent Spanish, just like and then they'll respond back. My cousins will respond back in English or like a mixture of both. And it's like, when that first scene happened, when they're all arguing, I was like, that's cool.
Like it is.
That's cool.
Very
Thank
genuine.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I enjoyed that, even though I know nothing about the Chinese culture and language. I could still appreciate that.
And the actors all did an amazing job. Michelle.
Did you remember her name? We had to look up their names.
We looked it up twice. We did it once to learn it, and the second time.
It's Ki Kwan. I forgot.
You also forgot, yes. Michelle Yeoh, I believe it was pronounced. She is a fantastic actress. She had been in Bond movies. She was in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Crazy Rich Asians.
And Crazy Rich Asians. That one I actually haven't seen.
Her most recent hit.
She did a fantastic job.
Yeah,
I think a lot of that not just came down to her, but the character itself. She's written as this kind of like somewhat tiger mom-ish, financially despot laundromat owner.
Yeah.
I think that character is. There's a surprising amount, and I enjoyed this. This movie was very sincere. They weren't like. There's no like cynical look on the IRS or being an immigrant in America or anything like that. This movie is very sincere, and that's probably why the emotional finale of this movie hit so hard, is because it's like, well, they just feel like genuine characters. Yeah. They actually feel like genuine people.
Yeah, it's very, very easy to almost start blending yourself, or not blending, but like delving into caricatures, especially when you're dealing with non-WASPs.
Not only dealing with immigrants, but also like the IRS themselves.
Yeah. Not even just speaking on the Chinese family. It's, you can definitely deal like the IRS is this overbearing, evil demons, which they are. But they're not represented that way.
But the people who work for them, might
they're just
have
trying
a
to do
little
their
more
job.
humanity.
They're just trying to do their job. Yeah, exactly. So, that is also one thing I appreciated as well. Was just it towed the line at some points where I was like, yeah, but it definitely was executed a lot better than I think a lot of other movies that try and talk about these subjects.
So overall, I would say this movie is a solid A from me.
Yeah. Another thing I liked was the comedy. It was funny. It had multiple elements of comedy. There was slapstick, like one-off jokes. Then there was a classic miscommunication because the mom doesn't speak great English, so it's like a mistranslation of words here and there, or like cultural differences or cultural like
Mm-hmm.
barriers that make for funny moments, and then there's obviously the
Physical comedy, because there's a lot of
comedy.
fighting in this movie.
So
It's kind of an action movie.
it was a wonderful blend of all three, and I don't think any of those three actually, like, there were some moments where characters made a joke at a time where I was like, okay, this is turning into a Marvel movie. But for the most part, it was very well laced out throughout the script. There was never like it just wasn't too much at any one point.
Yeah.
Like a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Which I also appreciated. So
It's not like a Marvel movie because the characters aren't like quipping back and forth like they do in Marvel movies. This is more like actual funny things are happening to them. Yeah. I would say.
I mean, half of the daughter's dialogue in the first act is literally just, why am I here? What is going on?
Yeah.
What is happening? And the husband too. Really, all three of them. It's like, what is going on? What is happening? So that makes for some good times.
So overall, I would highly recommend this movie.
Yes, go watch this movie.
Don't take your kids.
Yeah, definitely. Is it rated? It's definitely rated R, right?
I think it is.
Okay.
I actually don't know if it says on the Wikipedia page, but it should be.
It's 100% a rated R movie. Yeah, don't take your kids. This is not a kids movie. It's very, very. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that for now. Anyways, yeah, we both enjoyed it, so that's it for spoiler free.
Now spoilers.
Now we're gonna give it 5 seconds, so you can leave, go watch the movie, come back later. It's a good movie, we promise. All right, James.
Good.
Spoilers. What is one thing? I don't know where I was going with that question. You start.
So I really, really enjoyed how they blended the plot device of connecting to the multiverse with the plot of her reconnecting with her daughter, with the actual editing in this movie and how they move back and forth between the different dimensions and character arcs, because she learns things and she learns to appreciate her family, but she learns about that through different dimensions.
Yeah.
Like she learns to appreciate her husband from a dimension where she doesn't have him anymore. Or she learns to appreciate her daughter through the dimension where her daughter is trying to destroy everything.
Yeah.
And I very greatly appreciated how all of those coalesced very, very perfectly, I would say. Other than that, I just appreciated the editing in this movie because it was so humorous. Like the putting a credit scene halfway through the movie. So many people in the theater were like, "It's over! It's already over!"
Yeah.
That was one thing I knew beforehand going in, was that there was a credit prank where they will show credits on screen, and it won't be the end of the movie.
The actual end of the movie.
That, and yeah, I mean, this was just such a funny movie. I actually cried from laughing twice. The first time was from the butt plug fight scene.
That was ridiculous.
And the second time was honestly when they turn in the rocks.
When they turn in
and it's rocks. Just her and the daughter as rocks, and there's text on the screen.
Yeah, that was a funny scene.
And I was like, is this YouTube poop or something?
That's like old school YouTube.
Yeah. That was really
13-year-olds learning how to edit in Windows Movie Maker type stuff.
But honestly, I appreciated that so much, that one scene. I thought that was so funny.
Yeah, I'm glad they decided to embrace the wackiness that would be somebody who actually multiverse jump. It almost feels like a spoof of all these multiverse movies coming out.
Absolutely, yeah.
I don't know if that's intentional or not. Obviously, this movie's been in the works for a while. But it definitely feels like a spoof because it's like, we watched Spider-Man and we were like, how is nobody freaking out over this?
Yeah.
Like, there are 3 different Peter Parkers and nobody's like, oh, okay, so there's 3 different Peter Parkers. That makes sense. The mom in this movie straight up is like, what the F is going on through like the first hour? That's all she says, really. So I appreciated they embraced that, and they
Mhm.
didn't take us like they these people felt like real people. Like this doesn't happen to
Yeah.
them all the time. Where it's like
Mhm.
this is not a day-to-day routine for us. How would normal people react to that?
Yeah.
This is how normal people would react to that.
Um, and so like I said, they get all the mileage out of it. I feel like was necessary.
Yeah.
There's nothing they do where I feel like I wanted more from that. Literally, and I spent the entire day thinking about this. I feel like the only thing I might say I didn't like about this movie is that there's maybe like 4 locations in all of it.
I was about to say,
And there was seriously one moment where I was like, we've been in this tax office for like an hour.
I remember thinking that I was like, are they doing a freaking?
Is this
I don't even know what movie
like
did
Saw
that
where they're
last.
just in one room for the whole
Is
thing?
this a panic room?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely the one thing where I was like, we could definitely have explored a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
than just like their apartment / laundromat and the IRS
And the
office.
tax
I mean, we
office.
have the other universes for
Mhm.
maybe like 2 minutes max.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It'd have been cool to see them fight like in a mall or something, or like
Or just anywhere else.
they're at a park. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, for sure.
But no, honestly, I was very impressed with this movie.
Mhm.
I think all the actors did very well. The husband, specifically,
Who won the movie?
who won the movie,
Yeah,
I would say the daughter. I loved how every time she showed up, she had a different costume on.
yeah,
That
Yeah.
was probably my.
yeah.
I always enjoyed that. And also Jamie Lee Curtis probably as the IRS agent.
Shout out Jamie Lee Curtis, man. She needs to start playing roles like that. Forget Halloween. Just stick to movies like this. This
Well-
is like right up her alley now as she's
Yeah.
getting older.
It's funny because I didn't even really recognize her until
Yeah,
the end
yeah.
because she has this like super
Terrible haircut.
like terrible haircut. I almost said it was Karen like, but it's definitely not. But this movie just
It's
goes.
like, never mind. I'm not gonna say it.
This movie goes all over the place though.
Yeah.
It's really hard. I thought about this afterwards, but it felt to me like the Lego movie, but live action, where like I felt like
It felt like
with
it was
the
on
Lego
acid.
movie, you could take like any 5 seconds from the Lego movie is different from the last 5 seconds
Mhm.
to the point where it doesn't even feel like you can take different screenshots and they don't even feel like they're from the same movie.
Yeah,
You could do that with this. You could take 2 screenshots 5 seconds apart and it won't feel like it's from the same movie. And I think that's very impressive. I think that's really cool.
it's one thing to do it. It's one thing to do it and make it entertaining and a
Yeah.
fun watch.
Because there's a lot of jokes. There's a lot of different kinds of jokes in
Yeah.
this movie. There's the visual puns, or maybe not visual puns, but just like visual comedy, like the butt plug stuff.
Yeah.
Not even just like the fact that the Auditor of the Year award, that is what it is. There was also I think it was a joke about Chinese knockoff movies that Ratatouille was raccoon.
Rakakuni.
Yeah. And then she meets a guy with the raccoon under his hat. I was like, I love that attitude of just coming up with a stupid idea and taking with it.
Yeah, they definitely embraced.
Because the two directors, Daniels, their previous work together was Swiss Army Man,
That makes sense.
which I have not seen, but just from
Paul Dano.
and Daniel Radcliffe, who's very good.
Shout out Paul Dano.
I've not seen that movie, but I remember when that came out and people were like,
What is
that's
this?
a concept for sure. That seems to be their shtick. Yeah, are
They
these-
write it as well.
Yes.
Cool.
I think the Daniels have this shtick now. They are concept movies, for sure. I think they pulled it off very well in this one, 100%.
Any critiques of the movie?
Other than spending in like
2 locations.
2/3 of the movie in one location, it's not so much that it's a criticism that they did it. It's just that it
makes sense why they did it.
It makes sense why they did it.
Budgets and stuff like that.
It's just that it feels over time samey, and it doesn't really feel like they're going many places, even though they're literally jumping to
It also,
multiverses.
it also feels. The problem with that is it feels kind of in a bubble.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're in different locations and this is happening,
Mhm.
it feels more like this is impacting the world. Because he
Yeah.
even says a line like, "Oh, we're impacting the world," and this and that. It's like, dude, you're burning down an IRS building.
Yeah,
Is
you're not
it
even
really-
leaving this one place. For the most
Is it
part.
really impacting the world that much?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like that. But
The worst
obviously,
example I thought of
budgets.
that was Encanto, where
Yeah,
they spend the entire movie in the
in the
house, to the
house.
point where they go on this whole character arc and it doesn't feel like they did anything.
Yeah.
This movie definitely doesn't suffer from that at all. The only other thing I would criticize it is it actually did feel 2 hours long.
There are some moments where it does drag.
For as much
Yeah.
as
For as fun and
stuff
as
happens.
exciting the action scenes are, and they
Mhm.
are very well choreographed. That's another thing, is the action sequences are very well choreographed. It looks pretty.
You can actually see the fighting happening.
Yeah,
They take. I mean, they have Michelle.
Did that
Mulan,
bother you
so
at all?
They borrow heavily from kung fu movies.
Were you freaking out because it was on a
Because it was
stabilizer?
a stabilizer. I didn't care.
For those that don't know, James likes shaky cam. It's his one unpopular opinion.
Okay, I like whatever.
But it had some. It wasn't like full John Wick. Let's put it on a tripod, lock it down.
Yeah,
it was
seriously.
like, we'll move the camera with the characters.
No, they
put it
definitely-
on weapons at times and like
Mhm.
move it around.
They reference.
Very artful in that.
They
degree.
reference Hong Kong action movies throughout this movie. I
Yeah.
actually think when she visits a universe where she is an actress and her husband is just some other guy who
Yeah.
they had broken up, and that whole sequence was like shot exactly like a Wong Kar-wai movie, who's a very famous Hong Kong or at least Cantonese director, and I really thought that was super cool, that they weren't just like, they were taking in all these different influences from everything and just using them to their advantage.
Yeah.
And I appreciated that greatly. Mm-hmm. I feel like, I don't know. It's hard to say what I think holds this movie back, other than, I don't know. There's something in it that I feel like.
The one thing that bothered me was the girlfriend was not in it like at all. She's in it for like 5 minutes in the beginning, and then she's in it 5 minutes at the end, and we're supposed to think she's like the anchor that is what causes Joy to calm down. And it's like, can we see her do something loving and caring for at least once? Because that's what she is. She's the equivalent of the dad. The girlfriend is, not Joy. Because she even says it. She's like, oh, she found somebody who's loving and caring and is the exact opposite of me.
Mm.
And then she pulls her and it's like,
And
hey,
you don't feel like you see enough of that.
and there's not
actual
enough
dynamic.
characterization of the girlfriend other than she's
Mhm.
white and gay. Which,
is fine, fair
yeah,
play. But,
yeah. But it's
yeah.
like, let's see more of like,
Yeah.
how is she loving?
Because at least
Because we
with-
tease it in the beginning, they have that scene in the beginning. She's like, you need to calm down, breathe, relax.
Yeah.
I'm here to meet your grandpa. It's okay. Everything's going to be okay. And then we
Mhm.
just don't see her for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, I would definitely say at the very least.
But this is like a minor nitpick. I'm just minor nitpicking.
Because this movie does a pretty good job of dramatizing the actual like psychology of the main character Evelyn and how she sees people, where it's like her husband is always having to save her, like when they go to the IRS building.
Yeah.
So when they start leaping to the multiverse, the husband is always saving her
Yeah.
with his fanny pack, and then her daughter is like sucking all the life energy out of her, trying to be like, will you please tell grandpa that I'm a lesbian?
Yeah.
So when they go to the multiverse stuff, her daughter is literally sucking all the life energy out of her universe. But I guess you could also say that, or like with the grandpa character, James Hong in this movie is absolutely fantastic.
Shut up.
Shout out to him, because he's been in stuff for years now. So it's fantastic to see him still doing something where he's also kind of like a badass.
Yeah.
Where he comes out at the end and his wheelchair is like a mech suit around him.
Turned into freaking, I don't even know. He turned into a transformer.
Yeah,
He
he
would-
turned into the thing from Aliens.
He turned into Gundam.
Yeah,
What is it, Gundam?
Gundam.
Yeah, Gundam, sorry.
No, I enjoy this movie very thoroughly.
Mhm.
And it's hard for me to really say what holds it from being an S. But I just enjoyed it. I thought it was very good.
Yeah.
It does pretty much everything right. Would you see it again though?
No.
And I think that is also
Yeah.
how I feel.
I don't think
And
I would see
maybe
it again.
that is probably what's holding me back, is the fact
It's
that I'm
not a
like,
movie I want to I mean, as I enjoyed it, I loved it. Don't get me wrong, it was a great movie. I had a great time. It's probably an A-tier movie for me. But it's like watching.
This would be a good movie to show to somebody the first time, just to get
Yeah.
someone else's first time reaction.
It's not a movie you rewatch because it's like there's a memorable scene or there's funny lines or there's good character, like great acting out of it. It's a fun time. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's a very, very fun, well done, polished movie.
And like our friend Connor said, he was like, I don't need to take drugs because this movie is the drug.
Yeah. It's
I was very surprised to see that this movie had that impact on you guys. That to me was also one of the most impressive parts of the movie. Was afterwards, everyone was like, I need to sit down. You're already sitting in the theater because
it just literally takes you on a ride and it builds up and then it just goes a million miles per hour and then just drops you. And that's what I love too, is there's no like long-winded, Return of the King 3 endings kind of ending. It's just like, all right, we're done. We're out. We came in, we did our job, and we're out. And it takes a lot of balls to do that as a director and a writer. And
kudos to them. I mean, this is for me what I probably like. I mean, I think the reason I like this movie the most visually is because this movie is probably visually the closest to like what I like to see, but I just don't get it often enough. And to that degree, I think this is a good example of what happens when you actually allow your ideas to inform the storytelling instead of the other way around.
Yeah.
Because this, like, it has a 3-act structure, but it's so, like, you don't think about it in that way because it's so perfectly aligned with the multiverse jumping throughout. I really enjoyed that they took it that far, or at least they allowed it to be told in a different way. So yeah, I feel like I'm repeating myself. I enjoyed the movie. I would highly recommend it. Solid A. Capital S, capital A.
Yeah, these are definitely two people I will. Oh, I just stabbed my mic with my mouth. That I will be watching their career with great interest.
Are you gonna watch Swiss Army Man now?
I might. I've heard decent things about that movie. It also has Paul Dano. Which, is a guy we enjoy on this podcast.
They also directed the music video for "Turn Down for What."
That I guess makes sense. I don't know.
Weird that it wasn't used in the movie. Feels like it would have fit.
That would have been perfect. Oh, that's funny. Have they directed anything else? Just a bunch of short films, I see.
They've done some short films and music videos as well.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Exciting stuff. Who's the daughter?
The daughter is Stephanie Hsu, HSU. I believe that's how that's pronounced, but I could be wrong. I feel like I had recognized her and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
she seems familiar.
But I couldn't tell exactly.
Doesn't look like she's in anything huge.
No, but I think she did very well. Like I said, she was probably my favorite part in the movie. Was her villainous character.
Yeah, definitely, really for sure. Cool. Any last words?
No.
Go watch this movie. Go make this movie $1 billion movie.
Support independent.
Oh yeah, what are the box office like? Let's talk about that real quick.
All right, let me go to the box office mojo.
A24. Probably not a lot. I would be very surprised if it's in the top 10 this weekend. Yep, 25.
So yeah.
How much opening weekend? Damn. Wow, 500,000.
Look at how many theaters it opened in. It opened in 10 theaters. Because it premiered at South by Southwest.
Premiered at South by. Shout out South by.
We didn't go, even though we live like.
Don't if you're an Austin local who. Apparently, every Austin local hates South by.
Which is, honestly
unless they're in the service. Every Austin person hates it unless they've worked in the service industry, which obviously that's like a peak season. It's funny. It was funny to listen to people these past 2 weeks.
I mean, overall, it is at 8.8 million against a budget of 25 million.
Jesus Christ!
So it's still an independent movie.
Stop watching Marvel.
Still
movies.
has limited releases.
Martin Scorsese wasn't wrong.
but I would highly recommend it. I believe it is on streaming as well. I could be incorrect about
Do you
that.
think this has any legs in terms of like having a second bump popularity?
So it does not look like it is on any streaming, although I thought it was on HBO Max. Absolutely. I think this could definitely, especially within, I'm going to sound like a boomer when I say this, but within our generation, who I think has more of an appreciation for this kind of scatterbrained collage making
Sure.
storytelling.
Sure.
I feel like it will get a lot of attraction with them. I could see this just also being kind of a
Cult classic.
that a handful of people saw at the right time and
Yeah.
just continue to enjoy, for sure. At the very least, I would say go see it. See it in theaters, because watching it with an audience of people for the first time is hilarious.
It's trippy. It's definitely a top 10 movie experience in a theater for me, at least.
Mhm.
Oscar buzz, perhaps. It's not at it wasn't released at the right time.
It was not. If there was any Oscar buzz, it should be for Michelle Yuan, for sure.
I could see her getting an actress.
Mhm.
No.
I could also see them getting like a best original screenplay. Hopefully, best editing.
Editing, maybe. I
Yeah.
could see them getting a nom for that.
At
Other
the very
than
least.
that, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of movies. We don't even know what's coming out.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's so weird. Right? Isn't that weird? Like, usually we would know what's coming out. But now it feels like we don't know anything that's coming out.
Yeah.
It feels like they release the trailers for everything 2 weeks before, unless it's a Marvel movie.
Mm-hmm. What's funny too is that a lot of the
disturbing.
previews that we saw were stuff that we had already seen previews for anyway.
Yeah.
Like the Nicolas Cage movie.
Yep.
There was Men, the Alex Garland movie. There was another A24 movie about a snail, but I'm gonna be honest, that did not look interesting.
That one looks weird.
None of it looks weird.
It looks weird.
It just didn't look interesting.
It looks weird.
Story-wise,
It looks weird.
Seemed like a kid's movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I enjoyed this movie. I'm going to stop repeating myself. Stop recording. End the episode.
I'm trying to think of other questions to ask. I don't think there's any other questions to ask. All right, cool. Yeah, we're up. See you guys later. See you guys next week. Have a good week.
Have a good week. Enjoy your weekend.
And happy Easter. Happy Easter, everybody.
Happy Easter. Yes, this will go up on Good Friday.